Hi, Carol here, and welcome to my craft room. I am doing a no-line coloring technique for a background with my Stampscape number 3 set with the no-line coloring, and it's the nature sheet number 3. And I received this from Sherry and Bonnie as a gift, my Saskatchewan friends over on Stamp Nation. And I want to use them because they are a nature scene, and so I am preparing a no-line background in preparation for laying down some water. I'll have a sky with beautiful clouds. I'm going to show you a different technique for clouds. I think you'll really like it. And I am going to set a base of the sky. I'm going to have foliage coming in an oval on each side so that I can have a narrow bit of water coming from the top of the bottom of the mountains, coming down and widening out, because one of the sets has leaves that fall into the water and it has beautiful ripples in it, and I want to get that concept onto the water part. So I'm removing the stamp pad, and they fit beautifully on the backs of all of these inks. And I'll tell you the inks that I did use: Chip Sapphire, the darkest color. I moved to Salty Ocean, Stormy Sky, Tumble Glass, and Broken China. And those are the inks I'm working with in the going darkest to lightest. Now, when I make a background scene for scenery and I want it to have no lines, I leave my hand, as you can see, around the narrowest part of the handle of the the actual tool. And when I want to get more, put more pressure on, I lower my hand onto the wooden round part because it gives me more control onto the paper. But right now I want to have a light touch, and it's barely touching that paper, and I apply it like you see here right to the Ranger mat, and then I take it like that. See how I rub it into the Ranger mat, and as I'm coming in from the corners, I can tell right away how much ink I'm applying, whether I need more ink or less ink. And I just grab it there, and I try never to touch my paper first because that's where you're going to get the lines. And these new round application brushes here are wonderful for not getting as many lines as you used to get with the square one. So I was really happy when these came out. So I work right to left, adding, because I'm going to have water in here, and it is going to be narrow and it's going to work its way out, yet I'm going to have mountains and foliage. So I already have it planned in my head. I look at the stamps and I've already pre-stamped it in my mind on exactly what's going to go on this paper so that I don't have any surprises when I go to stamp. I'll know where I have to put my dark colors, where I have to put my light colors. I mean, you could change it up, of course, but it's good to just study your stamps and just get a handle on that, and it works much better. Even if if you draw it out, it's kind of nice. Just sketch a little sketch. So right here, I think I grabbed the Tumble Glass. I'm going to work into some light distress inks, and aren't they juicy? Like, just look at them. Now I'm grabbing that sponge, and I just love storing them in the back. I can't say it enough. It's awesome, eh? So here I am adding that on there. And it's really funny because the colors are not the same really as they show on the tops. You have to really practice with them to get the true color. I have all the colors stamped out on my large ink pads, the large square ones. But when I bought the minis, I thought, no, I'm not putting those stickers on these little gaffers. I'm just leaving them. And you can pretty well tell light to dark. So here I am, I'm moving in, and I'm down on the narrow part of the handle, so that means I'm really giving it a light pressure. And I'm sitting in about 100-degree craft room. It's the only room in my whole house, I keep saying that I don't have central air. And isn't that funny? And I don't want to move everything out of it to put it in there either right now. But it's 95 degrees outside, if that tells you anything. So I thought I'm doing a voiceover, and I'm going to be in my air-conditioned room while I do it here. So while I'm talking to you. So here I am just grabbing some more color and working it around and around, pouncing it down in there because I want to use quite a bit. There we go. And just work it, and it goes down into your stamp pad there and gives you, the more pressure you give, the more ink it lets out. It's just wonderful. So I don't want this section at the top, as you see. I want to leave it light. Now I grabbed it. See how I have my hand pressing down on the wooden part there so that I can get, I don't have a lot of ink on there. I just want the pressure to move what I do have on there. So I'm grabbing my squeezed lemonade, and there we go. I'm going to put some on the mat. This is a beautiful color. Now the squeezed marmalade onto the tumbled glass and salty ocean mixed together gives you the most beautiful green you've ever seen. Wait till you see this. It's beautiful. And if you could mix your colors when you're doing your blending, it's much nicer than adding another color because you risk the line, putting the lines in there when you add ink. So make your own color. The yellow and the blue make the green, and just change your yellows and blues to get it. If you need a deeper green on there, just add darker blue and brighter yellow, and you'll get a beautiful green. See how it's just coming up nice? And I move from right to left. I do one side, then I turn it over, and I will begin just little areas at a time. Because if I do change my mind on what type of setting I want to have on there, I haven't already put too much on there. So now I am taking out, it is the crushed olive, I think it is, that I'm putting on there. A little darker because I want to intensify that green area there on the blue. Watch, it'll just get nice and deep. Yet it'll leave me with a little bit of the light color as well. So I have total control when that ink is on the mat. If I pounce it right on the little ink pad, I don't know what's on my brush. So I like to just grab it from the mat, and see how I'm intensifying that green? I'm bringing it right up into the corner because I want to look like it's coming down and branching itself out and to meet in the middle. Now I'm going into my browns, and that one is the walnut stain, and I work with 5 different browns, dark to light. So I'm just grabbing the pad there and working it in. And you don't have to clean up all of your colors because they will blend nicely. You use up most of them anyway. I just do it at the end. There we go. I'm just adding. I want you to see that it looks like I have boulders there. This is for placement. I know where I'm going to place my trees. I know where I'm going to place my shrubbery. And I know where my smaller and larger stamps are going to be placed just by the way I've put the ink on there. Everything is intentional. I try to make it intentional. I just don't plop it on there not knowing, what plan I'm going to have for this background. It just helps in preparation for stamping, I find. So I sit down with the stamp, I look at it, and I kind of get a plan in my head on which stamps I want to use, because I think I only used maybe 5 out of all of these stamps on there, 5 or 6 in there. So I'm grabbing another color here. And these pads wash up with soap and water beautifully. I will wash them up, about every 2 to 3 weeks. Depends how much I use the inks. Just put them in a little dish of soapy water and then dry them on a towel and leave them set out overnight. And in the morning, they're beautiful, clean stamps for or pads for you. And you don't have to buy them over and over again. So that's just a quick tip there. So now I have grabbed a piece of paper so that my hand doesn't get on the sky, and I'm setting down for where I'm going to put my trees, the foliage. And wait till you see what I do and what I use to put the brushes in there, the leaves in the water. On part 2, there's 3 parts to this. Here I have the squeezed, no, I'm sorry, this is the dried marigold. And experiment with your colors just to see, you know, what it makes. My idea is to not have a lot of lines in there. I took my time. It took me a while to do this background, but it was worth it. It was worth just sitting there and slowly. Now, here's a different technique. I want to pounce this on. I want to intentionally not be smooth. Watch. This is where the greenery is going to go. This is where my mountains are going to be. And I want it to show like a stippling effect in the background. So I grabbed, this is a bit of the, it almost looks like the cracked pistachio, but with a bit of the chipped sapphire in it. It is a beautiful, beautiful color up on here. It could be a bit pine needles too. It kind of looks like that. I didn't write down everything I used, but I just took out the family of browns in your containers, the family of blues, and the family of greens and yellows, and went with it. So now I'm using a little light hand here to get that pounce effect smoothed out. Not all of it. I don't want it all out. I just don't want it to have, I almost want it to look like a stucco. So now I'm going to pounce the water, and that's why I grabbed it from the ink. I want it to be juicy, 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 and I want that, just that color. I don't want to grab any more colors at the start of it down at the bottom. I want to work with that color, so I just wanted to see what that would be like, and that is the chipped sapphire, and then I'm going to run it up, and remembering that my water, I want it to be totally different blues than the sky. I want it to be a green blue where the sky is a gray blue for my stamping. So that's what I did here. Very light hand here. I'm just covering the lines so that it looks really pretty. And I will intensify that water. There we go. See how it went dark, and the water's a completely different look, different blue than the sky. Isn't that pretty? So I'm just grabbing a different blue here. This is the tumbled glass, and I am rocking it back and forth, just giving it, I want ripples. I want a rippled effect. I don't want the water to be smooth because some of my stamps have the ripples in them. So you have yourself a blessed evening. I'll see you on part 2. I think you will really enjoy this Stampscape set. And I look forward to showing you this card. You'll really like the way it's put together. So I will see you on part 2. And thank you so much as always for joining me.